the trip to Qatar is that there was some controversy about the note verbal that came from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Qatar, flying around all over the place for Tinubu and Yinka Tinubu. You know, and then there was a counter, there was another note verbal.
He wants to protest what? What is anybody threatening in this country?
President Bola Ahmed Tinubu just include his son to one of the agencies that is traveling to Qatar. Remember, just recently, we also make a video about his nepotism, how he make his son-in-law as a minister. Now, it's beginning to get too interesting. I want you guys to watch this particular video for Rise TV News. We'll be right back to do some messages to it.
The senior special assistant to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on digital and new media, Otega Ogra, has defended the president's inclusion of his sons, Sheyi and Yinka, among the delegation going with him to Qatar for a business and investment meeting. The list of delegates began circulating on social media on Tuesday in the wake of the president's directive to implement the Orosaye report to cut the cost of governance. Ogra, in a bid to defend the inclusion of the president's family among the delegates going to Qatar, said that some world leaders take their children on state visits to educate them about world affairs and different cultures and to maintain a semblance of family life despite the demands of public office. His tweet reads, "It is not uncommon for children of world leaders to accompany their parents on foreign trips. In fact, it is the norm. Canadian PM Trudeau is known to travel with his family on official trips abroad. Same with UK PMs, even if somewhat muted. From the public image and diplomacy angle, bringing family members can soften a leader's public image and aid in diplomatic relations by showcasing a relatable, family-oriented side. For some leaders, taking their children on such trips is a way of educating them about world affairs and different cultures. Others do it to maintain some semblance of family life, despite the demands of public office, and for security considerations. The Obamas, Clintons, Bushes, Trumps, and others went on tons of foreign trips while in office with their families. We really need to stop majoring in minors in the name of castigating everything." Well, I wrote hashtag Nigeria will succeed. Obviously, Nigeria will succeed, but you know that a lot of Nigerians have always talked about cutting cost of governance, even just in the wake of the Orosaye report, and the fact that, you know, I believe it was COP28, that whole nonsense about the huge delegation came up. Well, let me take a reaction. This person wrote, "Lagos has always been a family business, and now Nigeria is going to be a family business too. The oppressed are the ones defending them. As Nigerians are bleeding, Nigerian politicians in their various positions are still living in luxuries, living large on their bogus salaries, compensations, allowances, loots, and other benefits. They'll come online to give out sweet interviews and talks, and then go back to their presidential villa to dine and wine. Nigerian people are none of their business. They are in politics to steal billions and enjoy the best things of life, while Nigerian people live in hunger, poverty, and misery on a daily basis." I see you nodding.
Saying that other world leaders travel with family. The question to ask is, those family members that go with them, do they pay from their pockets, or are they following family, you know, their father at state expense? Now, if you check in many other countries, you see that oftentimes, you know, the presidents of those countries pay from their pockets if they have to go, in terms of maintenance and all of that. You are citing the example of America, where in fact you can't eat anyhow at state expense in the White House. Otherwise, you have to pay, as Mrs. Obama pointed out. Now, in any case, there's also the famous example of Namibia, COP28 that you mentioned. In December 2023, President Gengub, now blessed memory, he traveled to Dubai with 6 members of his family.
Yes,
there was outreach.
Right.
On in Namibia. Namibia Twitter exploded because people were saying, how can the president travel with his wife and then go with 4 children? The president's defense is that they had been planning vacation and that, members of his family were not sponsored by the state. So the question here is, who is paying for Sheyi Tinubu and Yinka Tinubu? Are they going there as business investors? Because the trip to Qatar is about investment.
Yeah.
So what business do they do? Because if they are investors, if they had one big company and they are also going to go there and help Nigeria achieve the objectives of foreign direct investment, then of course you cannot question it, because they will then be bona fide qualified to be on that trip. But if they are just going because they are daddy's sons, then Nigerians have every reason to say, what is their role there? That's number one. Number two, in January, President Tinubu gave a directive that he was reducing presidential entourage for local and international travels. Now, what was assigned to the president then was an entourage of 20 for international travels, right? I think about 20 for international travels. There is a list that is circulating of main body. Main body means the team that goes with the president. Now, that list is in 2 parts. Some people will travel on the 28th. It's an advanced team of about 22, 20 something people. Then you have the main body, the other main body that will travel with the president on the 29th. Those ones, I think they are about 28. Now, if you add the figure, then you raise the question, is the president violating his own directive? Is he leading by example with regard to presidential entourage? We will expect an explanation in that regard. The third point to be made about the trip to Qatar is that there was some controversy about the note verbal that came from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Qatar, flying around all over the place, and then there was another note verbal when it became controversial that the business summit that the Qataris had said would not take place because of other commitments had now been allowed. But the point I want to make there is not about the diplomacy. You can exchange no baba, aide momoa, bois du papier, as they call it in diplomacy. The issue is about government documents flying about.
This is my question. What is going on?
In the rules and guidelines for civil servants, there is nowhere that civil servants are allowed to be carrying sensitive government documents and giving it to the media or distributing it on social media. In 2011, we had the Freedom of Information Act. If you want to access information, the Freedom of Information law outlines procedures by which you can access government documents, and there are exemptions provided for in that same law. But this one that everywhere is just porous, that every department of government, they have turned the government documents into something that just goes around.
Yeah, but I wasn't there a warning. There was a warning that was released by the presidency that
by the office of the head of service.
It was leaked as well.
Yes, even that was leaked. Even that directive, even that circular was leaked.
Now, it didn't end there. Your president, the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is currently being accused of nepotism. He's accused of nepotism because he just recently made his son-in-law as the Federal Housing Authority. Okay, now it's becoming family business. When I told you that this man mean nowhere for Nigeria, a lot of you were just like, oh, it's Yoruba people turn his name local. Anyway, let's watch this particular video as well. We'll be right back to do some messages to it.
All right, let's just go to the details here. There were a lot of accusations. First of all, Professor Yusuf Usman accused President Bola Ahmed Tinubu of nepotism after he appointed his son-in-law as the head of Federal Housing Authority. He also talked about how this administration has pushed more Nigerians into multi-dimensional poverty because of some of his policies. I'd like for you to respond to those two. Let me just land. My main question.
I am not.
My main question, because it is sure, it is your right of reply, and I'd like for you to respond to those accusations. That's number one.
So,
number two.
So I am
Sure. Number two.
I am responding. Will
Sure.
you let me respond?
Go ahead.
I will not dance to your tune.
No problem. On those two
My God,
accusations.
you will have to give me some respect.
Sure, sir. On
Beautiful.
those two
Now,
accusations.
let us. It's a conversation for God's sake.
Absolutely.
You will let me speak.
Go ahead, sir. Go
My
ahead.
adorable daughter, please let me speak.
Go ahead, sir. The floor is yours.
I adore you. Let
Thank
me
you.
speak. Now, which nepotism is he talking about? Is it the nepotism we saw the last 8 years? He wants to protest what? What is anybody threatening in this country? Who? Threatening who? That you will stop food from coming from north to south? Then the people from south should stop what they produce to go to the north? Do we still have a country? What is wrong with people in this country? Who is threatening who? Seriously. We have one country. Listen, I think Steve, my brother Steve and Yorande will understand this better. I will mention one word. One nation, one destiny. It was the mantra during the era of Shehu Shagari. If nobody there understands that, Steve most certainly will understand it.
I do understand it. Yes, one nation.
Let's respect each other. Nobody should threaten another person in this country.
Okay.
We are all in this together.
All right, Mr.
We have a president in this country. Our president means well. Please let me speak. Our president means well. He is working hard to put things together. Do you even know the biggest problem we had the last 8 years? When all these people, their voices were silent. The problem was the emasculation of President Tinubu from the... If President Tinubu's touch was in the government this last 8 years, we will not be where we are today.
All right. Okay.
We are trying to get out of a difficult situation. Then somebody comes on television and starts threatening people that he will do what? Governor Bago says he wants to stop food moving from Niger State. Should I stop fuel from moving from Delta State to his state? What an insult.
All right.
We are one country. Let us rest. Listen, nobody is afraid of anybody.
Okay.
Let nobody threaten anybody in this country. Please.
All right.
What an insult.
Sure.
Rubbish.
All right, Mr. Anakwasa, you've talked about threat a lot. But I asked a question, and it was just a question about nepotism, which you have not answered yet. But I'll skip that. I'll skip that question.
I said, is it nepotism? Mm-hmm. No, is it nepotism? Whatever nepotism is embellishing, is it worse than the nepotism of the last 8 years? This is what is happening.
All right. The idea of Nigeria being the idea of Nigeria being plunged into multi-dimensional poverty was one of his main issue on the program yesterday. But I'd like for you.
Nigeria?
Well, you've answered some of those questions.
Can I answer you?
No.
I have heard your question.
You will.
Can I answer it now?
I gave you 5 minutes to respond, but you haven't responded. But let me ask you this last question. What do you make?
I want to respond to the question.
Sure.
No, I insist on responding to the question.
Okay, go ahead, sir.
Is it Bola Tinubu that caused... Beautiful. Is it Bola Tinubu that caused multi-dimensional poverty in Nigeria? How? We are Christians. Today is Sunday, for God's sake. Let us fear God. How did Bola Tinubu cause a single problem in this country? How? 8 years? You were there?
Well, he talked about the
policies. How many people were lifted out of poverty? It's Bola Tinubu's fault. Bola Tinubu is not even 1 year in power.
Okay, let's
people are complaining.
Mr. Onakwasa, please can I ask you a question? Because you said what problems has he caused. So let's talk about some of the problems we're facing today that we did not face before he was sworn in on the 29th of May, 2023. Can we talk about some of the exact problems we're facing? We have new inflation figures for monetary inflation. The Naira has lost its value at a faster rate than under President... You did not answer Oji's previous question, which was about nepotism.
Giwa Osage.
Yes.
Giwa Osage.
Yes, sir.
I will answer the first question before this your question.
About
Bola
nepotism
Tinubu did not cause any
specifically.
multi.
No, she asked about nepotism specifically.
We are not having, we are no longer having a conversation if you will not allow me answer the question. You can't dictate to me.
I'm just asking if you are going to speak on nepotism in government.
Which nepotism? Which nepotism? Which nepotism? Is it the Bola Tinubu that walked his own son out of a federal executive meeting that you're accusing of nepotism?
Well, the federal executive meeting has people who...
What? Yes.
There's legal requirements for who can be on the Federal Executive Council meetings, right? This is a very important meeting, and nobody's...
Then what are you saying?
We're talking about the appointment of his son-in-law to be in charge of the Federal Housing Commission. My apologies.
No, he is not qualified. Are you more qualified than him? What do you mean by that? What's the point? Listen to me. Nobody, listen. I'm not going to dance to this gaslighting you are trying to do, my adorable daughter. Nobody should threaten anybody in this country. We are one country. Do you know the kind of people that support Bola Tinubu? Let nobody think that he can intimidate anybody. Not in this country. The people who support Bola Tinubu, we support him from the bottom of our heart. And we support him because we believe that this country is in a precarious state. And this is the kind of man we need to be our... People there's this narrative out there that people follow. Do I look like Daniel Bala? We don't collect money from Bola Tinubu. We spend our money on Bola Tinubu. If you don't know.
You have listened to what Mr. Lakpa said. Now that you guys have watched this particular video, I want to hear from you in the comment section. What are your thoughts about all these things? Your president sending his son to Qatar, your president also appointing his son-in-law. So I want to know what are your thoughts about this particular video you just watched. All right, we are going to be ending the video here. So we'll be waiting for you in the comment section. Remember, we love you, but God loves you more. If you love us, please don't forget to subscribe, click like, share, and comment your thoughts in the comment section. Until we meet again, stay tuned with Plan B TV. Peace out.